Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair, join the conversation, and let's figure this out together. This is Two Gents, where action speaks louder than excuses.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Live with
Welcome
Two Gents.
Two Gents, where
They want to
two
invite you
seasoned
twice. Don't
gents
worry about
take
it.
on the hard truths of life.
We're gonna get that together. But anyway, welcome to Live with Two Gents. I see a smile out there today. I mean, we was trying yesterday, trying, and we couldn't get it together. I looked at Byron and I could see him. He was just as frustrated as I was. I know. I say, Byron, please just bear with me. I'm not like John. I'm not an IT person all the way. I put my stuff together little by little, and it may take me longer than everybody else, but I'm here. I'm here tonight, Byron. We're live, Byron.
Yes, sir, Mr. Spikes. Yes, sir. We are sitting here getting ready to broadcast live. Of course, man, we've been in this business long enough to realize that, at the end of the day, technology don't always work the way that we think it should or the way that it should. So nevertheless, we're going to do what we need to do tonight. Just going to talk a little bit about a few little topics that's going on. It's open mic night, I guess we'll say. So whatever topic that's relevant to one is going to be relevant to all with us. So we got Brother John JT visiting us tonight, as well as always, 100% solid supporter. So at the end of the day, Ron, we're going to get this thing kicked off. I'm going to send it back to you and you can send it to John.
Well, John, I like the way he do that because see when he has something to do, he'll send it to me because he's trying to do something in the background. He think I've been with him a little while, John, so I'm going to give it to you like he gave it to me.
Well, I guess I just got a question about what's the biggest news of the day that you guys heard. See how I threw it right back?
Mm-hmm. There's a couple of things going on out there. We lost our brothers, Sylvester Turner. He used to be in the state Congress for a long period of time. I know I think it was over 27 years or something like that. And then he became mayor of Houston for 2 consecutive terms, and then he got Sheila Jackson Lee's. He was voted in the Sheila Jackson Lee, and old seat. And I don't think that he even got 2 months down there in Congress before he passed away. I mean, he did his job. He was a good brother in Houston. Everybody knew him. He came out of Acres Homes, which was a black area of Houston. It's where all the black people used to stay when you were in Houston. They didn't have you downtown. You were around town, so to speak. He was around town, but that was a strong black community in which he grew up in which he came out of. I mean, that community was set up more like where you could have your own farms and everything, but most of the people that was out there that were black worked in the city. So they would leave from Acres Homes and go to the city. It was one of those communities, I guess you say, where they have a church on every corner. Some of those churches are over 100 years old out there. Because I know I saw one that just celebrated, and they was something like 80-something years old. So, it's that type of black community that he grew up in. And the other thing, and Glass, I'm gonna go ahead. That fool that stood up in Congress, he was from Houston too. Let me just say that Judge Al Green, he sit on the bench for a while. He has a big history too. So the only thing I can say is, they come in all shapes, forms, and fashions. And
well, Mr. Spikes, my issue on that is Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Breitbart, or whatever her name is. I can't get it. They did the same thing to Biden. And if you remember, the guy shouted out and told Obama that he was a lie. Nothing happened. No repercussions whatsoever. So when you look at, what's taking place and what's happening now, it seems as if these people are trying to send a message that, you need to be quiet and sit in a corner. Now, I'm for fairness. I'm for the rules being enforced, the same across the aisle. Again, it goes back to some of the things that we've basically said, in previous conversations for the last 10, 12, or 14 years. The Democrats are actually playing softball while these other people are playing hardball. They telling you what they mean what they saying, they following up with whatever they tell you they're going to do. I think at the end of the day, rather than playing softball, in order to win the game, you got to get in the game. So I don't hold it against him. I think his emotions was involved. I think he was basically calling this guy out and to reprimand. I see that the House voted today to do that. So Hakeem Jeffries or anybody else that's from the other side, when these things take place, apply the same rule.
Agreed.
John, I gave it. That's your intro.
I was just going to say, it just basically reiterates what Brother Glass said was, one side's playing softball, the other side's playing hardball. Look, it's time to take the gloves off. The Dems are trying to do this thing via fairness because, hey, what is America supposed to be about? Fairness. Nah, not these people in charge now. Fairness is the farthest thing from their mind. Power and control is their game. That's it, by any means necessary. And that's where they are. It's kind of where they've been, I'd almost say forever, but at least for the last 12 years at least. That's their thing. I do have a question about the congressman who passed. Is this situation going to, and I don't know if he was married or not because I don't know that much about him, but is his situation going to be like, I can think of, I'll think of her name in a minute.
Sheila Jackson.
If he had a spouse, will she take his position, his seat, since he was actually already seated, right?
Yeah, he was already seated, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
If he had a spouse, will she take his seat for the rest of his term?
No, because they didn't already say that the governor wheelchair, I call him wheelchair, what you call it? He didn't already say the wheelchair Abbott. He didn't already say that he's going to go ahead and appoint a special election, and we're gonna have another election for his seat. So we just have to get ready for it and see how it goes after then.
So
make it
maybe
easy
I was
for
reading it
nobody.
wrong. So was he a state congressman, or was he
Originally,
a U.S. congressman?
he was a U.S. congressman when he died, but he was a local congressman for 28 years.
Well, see, okay, this is why I asked that question.
Okay.
And this was during the COVID years. I don't know if Glass, you'll remember. Up here, I don't even remember her husband's first name, but there was a guy who ran for first office named Ludlow. He was COVID is a hoax, anti-vaxxer, the whole yard. Got elected during COVID. A week after he got elected and sworn in, gone, just like that, from COVID. His wife takes his seat for the rest of his term. She got his seat, went through his term, and then ran for office on her own when his original term was up. She's still sitting there now. She's been reelected. So that's why I asked that question about, would she get his seat if he was married? Because that happened here in Louisiana.
Well, John, what actually happened is you have a special appointment and then you have a special election. The governor would call a special election, and she just happened to win because most of the time it's kind of like a customary thing. If once the individual passes, usually if there's an agreement based on the appointment, and then after the appointment, there's an election because the voters have a right to elect the person that he or she chooses. So, but you're right, that did happen here 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. She's still United States Congressman here representing, I think, the 5th Congressional District, if I'm not mistaken. But Ron, I'm assuming that he's out in the Houston area.
Yeah, he was the mayor for Houston up until probably not I want to say last year sometime, and they elected this new mayor that came on, and if you read on the screen, it say U.S. Congressman for a long U.S. Congressman and longtime Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, and it said that he was from Washington D.C. I can kind of stroll this up a little bit where y'all can read a little bit
Yeah,
more.
Ron. Well, I can tell you, based on the way the writing is, ain't none of us gonna be able to read it because it's. I don't even think a kid can read it. If you can enlarge it, that would help out significantly, not just for us, but for those
Yeah,
who may
yeah,
go back and
I'm gonna
visit.
try.
Yeah,
You know me and technology. I can make it.
Very
yeah,
good. And
there
I'm
you go.
working with prescription glasses. I can see it.
Yeah,
Glad,
yeah,
Glass. I
yeah.
got something right, Glass.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can see it now with these little store with these little dollar store readers. But
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah. They
on the
work.
serious note, though, Ron.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
we try to enlighten and inform. So that's the reason why I'm kind of bringing it up because if we're putting the information out there, we want to make sure that everybody can kind of at least go back and
Mm-hmm.
reference to it. One of the things that I'm still worried about, what I've been thinking about, John, over the last couple of weeks is it seems as if we are concerned about everything but the right thing. We're concerned about uh, you know stuff that has no relevance to us, which is why the guest is coming on next Monday night, Tuesday night to talk about the four particular amendments or bills what's on the ballot for the state of Louisiana. And I think it's very important that people start paying attention and getting involved with what's going on. John, this is going to affect you and I because some of it is appointing special courts to deal with I think out of state attorney is something that will affect. I don't want to spoil what she's going to talk about next week, but it's something that's very important. I think it's the end of this month. I believe March the 29th, somewhere up in there. I don't quote me on that, but it's coming up for the state of Louisiana. So, we do have a lot of work to get involved. And again, Ron, every day that passed by, I wake up and saying we're getting further and further behind the eight ball because there's still not one voice that's out there countering what's being said. So we still are flickering the lights rather than getting in, applying the right electricity current and turning on the light. We're still not doing what we need to do. John, I'm gonna bring it to you.
Oh, I got nothing. I wasn't even aware that we had any special ballots, or amendments, anything coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was shocked by and somewhat bothered, and when I first heard it, our new governor, uh, I won't even call his name, but our new
Mm.
governor decided that in Louisiana we didn't need a concealed carry permit anymore under certain circumstances. So uh, basically, he's opened it up to the OK Corral. Now, as a potential gun owner myself, I said, well, great. I mean, I can live with that. As a veteran, I think that we should have been exempted anyway from that. But again, I can live with that. On the other side, I already know how law enforcement handles
Mm-hmm.
a certain group of people here, especially in this state, even in our area. It doesn't take much for you to just even look like you're reaching for your pocket and there's an obituary for you coming up.
Mm.
It doesn't take that much. Now that they presume by this new law that everyone has a gun, 100%. I was just sitting and thinking, how many more of us are going to die under suspicious circumstances? And now they've literally almost been given an out
Mm-hmm.
because of that new law. And that it just and I have a kid, or well, I call him a kid, a son who's 20, and every time he leaves the house, it's like, hey, look, hey, you know what not to do, you know what you should do, call me if you can, and make that happen, video, film, whatever. Conversations that we all know maybe the other side doesn't have to have with their kids every time that they leave the house. And that was just one of the things. But whatever will be upcoming, I will be on it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start looking it up when we're done, and I'm going to be on it. So,
Well, John, I'll send it to Ron. I know he's probably trying in the background to see if he can post it, but I think somewhere I read, so don't quote me on it, somewhere with this administration either issued an executive order or trying to get it to where if you kill a police officer, then you are entitled to the death penalty.
yes.
Again, policy-wise, we can agree to disagree. I think again, for the other side, the Dems are just. I think this is too complicated for them because, it's not the norm. It's not the average, everyday, politician. I saw somewhere earlier where I think in Mexico where another case of the measles caused a death of an individual. So if we got the DHS, Department of Health Services, Kennedy, talking all this, crazy talk about, vaccines are not this or not that. The question is, if we have another COVID, how many more people, will die as a result of misinformation, false information, or just flat out ignorance?
And budget cuts on top of that.
Right. Which is going. And John, I'm glad that you brought it up because what I don't understand is I think all of us have an issue with if there's what you call wasteful spending or money that can be allocated, somewhere else. But how can you go in and get rid of all individuals in a department and expect things to go on as normal, but you don't have anybody there operating what's normal? It has to be common sense to know that it's going to cause some type of issues, and it's going to create an influx of issues that's going to affect the very people that you say that you're trying to help. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand the ignorance. If the hate is that bad that you must do destructive things to get to where you're trying to get to me, John, it appears that the end of the road is coming.
That's a nice way of putting it. That's a very nice way of putting it. And I've been seeing that kind of mentality or thinking. I'm gonna say it ever since that escalator, that stroll down the escalator. That's when it was decided that, hey, look, you know what, we don't have to hide it anymore. Let's just go ahead and say what we feel and do what we think we want. It is that, and I'm gonna call it what you basically said. It's that hatred of anybody that's not me and anything that's not me. You may feel like that group has gotten more than they deserved, should have gotten, or is getting, because I seem to be hurting, but I still hate you. Instead of blaming that group, which I guess I'm trying to give them an out, but I shouldn't do that. But I see it as they will do anything, and I've said it in private a lot. I said these people are willing to destroy some of their own to get what they want, to get rid of what they don't want. They are that hell bent, and they do not care. I'm just putting it out there.
You're absolutely right. And we used to cover this, and one of the things that I would say to that is that the only difference is they've taken off their sheets. They're taking off their sheets. They don't have to wear the sheets no more. They can just say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do. And if they're a member of the KKK or the Grand Master, they can just say it. It's nobody. It doesn't bring fear in anybody. They're not worried about repercussions or nothing to what's being said. They just go ahead and do it. So it's just one of those things. And Byron, I'm gonna give it back to you real quick.
Well, Ron, yeah, even just for the sake of conversation and a health and conscious debate, we can throw out everything hypothetically that was back 40, 50 years ago. We can just deal with the basis now. I think what it is that This particular group has decided that they're going to do what we should have been doing for 400 years, which is stick together. And I don't have a problem with, anybody sticking together when they're trying to get things done. My problem is that those on the other side of the other party, which, I'm not affiliated with, they're just not doing, they're just not presenting, another option. Sitting here talking about the same thing that we already know is not doing any good. It's only creating more harm, in my opinion, and it's only separating. We were here, but it's getting wider and wider and wider to where if there's no message, when this thing get this wrong, then what you're trying to conquer is actually totally different.
Absolutely.
And John, I think you would agree with that. That's what we're going to be talking about next week, and it's on the screen right there, John, where you can kind of pay attention. So those who are out there looking, that's in the state of Louisiana that want to deal with some of this that Melon is going to be talking about next week, there it is right there, live and in color.
Okay. Yeah, we're able to actually get on here and kind of share stuff. Most of the time, like on Blog Talk, we had to talk about it. But with this technology, as long as we can keep it working like it is right now, we can show you different stuff that's on there, and you can kind of go with it. So this is what Glass was talking about, John. So we're going to kind of dissect this a little bit, and we can start here if you want to, Glass.
Yeah, I think, without stealing, her thunder, I don't think she would have a problem with it, because the more you get people involved, again, Ron, this is the classic thing that we're doing. We're enlightening and informing, those who are in the state of Louisiana about the upcoming election at the end of this month. And what they're trying to do, they don't endorse candidates or anything. They just provide information and try to activate you to go out and vote. And John, I think you'll find this very healthy once you look at it. As a matter of fact, if you want to get involved, I'll make sure that she gets in contact with you to make sure that you can see some of this. You may be, willing to get involved. I don't know, but the point is, Ron, what we cannot have and what we cannot continue to accept is the action of doing nothing. I heard somebody say the other day that, some of these people are so lazy, they can give them a job to sleep and they'll wake up, and
I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, that's just not a good thing to do. And the problem is, to a certain degree, there's some validity to it. I think, John, my saying has always been, a person rather climb a tree and tell you a lie than stay on the ground and tell you the truth. The analogies are all the same, and the point is, it's just that drastic. And the sad part is, Trip, is you, me, Ron, even if it's not our kids, it'll be Gen Beta. It'll be those individuals that would be affected by some of this dumb, idiotic stuff that's going on. Some of these policies that'll be passed. If you're talking about what you and Ron, because you guys are a little bit more senior than I am, if you talk about the Social Security that you've actually paid in, and these people are talking about taking it away from you and then giving it to the 1%ers. See, that's why they're going through all these drastic cuts. So anything that they cut, it's not going to be distributed back to the lower and the middle. It's going to, and again, I don't have a problem, with people doing what they say and saying what they do. He said that he was going to do this. He told you who he was for, but yet and still, I would have the same mentality he got. I got elected based off of what I told you. So since I told you I was going to do this and you elected me, then to me, that's why he keeps saying, and Dims, I don't understand. That's why the guy keeps saying, John and Ron, that I have a mandate. You can't blame him.
And he's keeping up with his mandate. See, we never established a mandate. What we did, we talk, we pray, we march, we do boycotts. But what happens after then? What happens after then when that newness is worn off? What happens? I'm just I don't know where we go. What do we do, Glass? And the thing that I like about the pictures that I'm showing up here is I see something that we've been talking about. They got young people involved.
Exactly.
They giving young people a voice with them. They're not just on this thing by themselves.
Well,
They're
not mean to cut you out, Ron. I think and Mel going to probably talk about how they were able to go out and get young folk engaged and involved. They didn't just give them some material or some literature. They are allowing them to go deep into what's going on. They are allowing them to have a voice. They are allowing them to put out a message. So they are like the positive battery cable and the negative battery cable. They're both working in unison. And as a result of that, they are getting some results because these people are active. They are involved. And Ron, I can tell you this. When I was young, my mama made me get involved in elections by listening to the TV and passing out literature, or at least reading the literature. So when I became of age to vote, man, it wasn't no choice. You had to go vote. You couldn't say, well, I'm gonna no. When you got up in the morning at 8 o'clock trip and being ready, you had to be at that voting booth. You had to be voting. And I know I've missed a few, but I can't tell you when the last time I missed voting, even if it's on something simple. Because what I do is when I wake up at 5:36, I know the polls open at 6. 6:15, 6:30, by 8 o'clock, I'm there voting. I'm trying to get other people to go out and vote, even by text message now, even by Facebook Messenger, or whatever means I have. I'll text as many people as I can. Hey, look, have you voted? And 99% of the time, most of the people that's here, they always message me to try to get as much information as possible. So since I know that burden is on my, well, not a burden, since that is on my shoulder, I try to make sure that I'm as informed as I can be. But if you look at this, John, and I'll send it to you via text, this is some very important information. But like I said, rather than steal the thunder from our guest next week, she'll be able to come on and talk extensively about it, but you can see it.
Well, I appreciate it. Now I'll digest it. I have a question with some of, and I love what I'm seeing. It just a thought occurred to me. What is y'all's opinion about when anybody, and I hate to say on that other side, sees anything that has BLM with it? Anybody with a BLM T-shirt or that logo or anything? What's y'all opinion about what you think, because of the history and the publicity and the perception that they've gotten pinned to them? Maybe some of it legitimate, maybe some of it not, because again, no organization is perfect, but it seems like the thing has been that's all they want to talk about is the negativity of BLM. And we know why. Let's just be plain and blunt about it. We know why. But what do you think about anything that involves that particular group by name? Do you think it has lesser of credibility than it might otherwise have? Because to be honest, whether you call that group BLM or by any other name, I don't think it would personally matter. I just think that all the ingredients are baked in for that group to be negative, to be seen as a negative thing. What do y'all think?
Ron, I'm gonna let you take that first because I got an answer that's real simple. So Ron, I'm gonna let you take it.
Okay. I think that when we first heard about it, and I'm gonna go to Black Lives Matter because I know how they did them. They destroyed the issue. Anything that's positive that seems to be moving in the direction of going somewhere, it always tends to be destroyed by somebody. And as we destroy them, it seems like we destroy ourselves. So I'm waiting to hear what she has to say, Glass.
Yeah,
that means
Ron,
more to me.
Yeah, Melon is in the chat on YouTube now, I think. So she may be messaging some things. But John, it's real simple. If you go back to the Black
Send her the link. She come on.
Yeah, well, I did, but I think she came in on YouTube. So I don't know if she I'm not sure if she want to come in or she just want to participate YouTube. But if you see any messages out there, just stop me and we'll read it. But John, to get to your question, real simple. I always go back to, like I said, cause and effect. I always go back to that. There she go texting now. John, I always go back to a cause and effect. Let me just put it this way. When the Panthers did what they did, whether they were called Black Panther, whatever, as long as the message is still the same, I'll go even quicker and faster. You got two gents right here. They can call it two peas in a pod. They can call it two whatever. The message is still going to be the same. So it doesn't matter whether you got a BLM shirt on or whether you got a BLM hat on or whatever. If your message is still the same, if you still got a solid foundation, it's nothing that anybody can do to prevent that. You got to remember, if 10 of us walk anywhere with black suits on just coming from church, everybody's asking questions. If 10 of us come go to a baseball game, everybody is asking questions. So see, I go back to what the foundation is. I'm not concerned about again what somebody is thinking or what somebody is believing. I only know what I'm going to be doing, and which is to try to make life better for everybody of all walks of life, of all different racial backgrounds or whatever. So if you're a drum major for justice and not a hypocrite, then you have to be a drum major for everybody, and that means all walks of life. So, but simple-minded, pea-brain individuals, people, they have an issue with people like me and others that are not afraid to stand up and speak out on any issue that affects the people that we represent. So they talked about Jesus, they talked about King, they talked about Malcolm, they talked about Mandela, they talked about a lot of. So we're in the same boat, and anybody else is out there trying to do in the same boat. So we're going to continue to do what we need to do. But whether you're wearing a shirt or not, it really does not matter to me as long as your message is the same, which is to help your fellow man to have a better life. Again, if you are making all of these cuts and you've made promises to these 1%ers, well, Trill, whatever Social Security that can be affected, trust me, it's going to be affected because promise is made, promise is going to be kept.
I gotta ask though, and I'm sorry, I understand that thinking exactly. But I go to, if I'm one of those people that voted for him because he said he was going to do that, maybe I don't have enough gray matter to understand, well, it's going to affect me. Maybe I'm in that group that he's talking about with the cuts. But I like what he's saying. So now he's in and he's doing what he's saying. And oh my God, it's affecting me. I'm the one being cut. Please make me understand how, despite he's doing what he's saying he was going to do, I need to be okay with that.
It's real simple, Trill. If my number one goal is to minimize the gains that you've made, I don't care about nothing else but this man getting in and minimizing the goals that object. Because remember, some people think that you've come too far. Okay, so for those people who think that you've come too far or you're not thankful for where you're at, all of that dumb, ignorant, disingenuous thoughts, those people are out there. Remember, half of the country did not vote for him. Okay, so you got to look at those who didn't vote. You got to look at those independents. You got to look at all of those people that just said, you know what, we don't like either candidate. It just so happened those that did vote, he got the majority, which was slight. Okay, he slightly gained of the 50 plus 1%. So, but the narrative is nobody from the other side, John, is countering the offers that he's making. The Dems are not saying nothing. Man, listen, let me switch gear. Jasmine Crockett. Okay, you saw. Well, I'm gonna let Ron.
No, please, somebody.
No. Go ahead and handle the Glass, because I'm trying to get your stuff up right now.
Well, Trib, I'm one of those guys, man. Even when you're in the ring, you still have to have a certain decorum. Now, every now and then, we tend to lose that. What do you think about some of the stuff that you may see, you may hear relative to her and, her getting her message out, her coming back countering, the other side. You agree or disagree with those actions?
I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say I'm a fan. I say that maybe I don't like hearing it in the, I guess, arena she's in, but it needs to be said. Mm-hmm. If we out here saying it to each other and we think it, see, that's what got who's there now. They think what he's saying all the time. They say it to each other. Now he's saying it in open forum, in his position, and if he can say it, hey, we good. We can deal with it too. So what she has, I've not heard anything that I disagree with what she said, honestly, on the things that I've heard. Now, maybe they got taken, you know how you can put together, splice together anything and make it a clip.
Right.
So, hearing it in the context of what it was presented as is one thing. But I mean, I'm a fan of hers. That's all I'm saying. I am a fan of hers. Yes.
I think that so many times that we get out there and as Glass has said.
Hey, Ron. Before you go any further, let me get you to do this. She's asking if you can go ahead and post a flyer and that info that you had up a little bit earlier.
I'm trying to get it up right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just give me a second. Tell them I'm slow motion, but I'm working on it. I'm slow motion, but here's what I'll say. Whatever she has done, they have always did it to us. They have always insulted people that tried to speak and try to express themselves in a certain way. They always did it that way, but we always sit there and we had to take it. I even like the way she responded to that other lady, bad body and all the rest of that language that she used. I like it. You know why?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it because now, have you heard that lady say anything else to her?
No.
Nothing. But sometimes, go ahead, Glass.
Well, no, like I said, nothing is normal now. So we don't know what to expect.
Okay, Glass. I don't know what the intent was from the and I know it's okay, but I'm just saying. I think maybe what you have a different perspective than what I have about it because you've served in offices and so you understand that there's a certain decorum and whatever. And I guess I could say that because I mean the only thing I can say come close to that is being a coach in youth sports. Yes, I may not be that. You want to put your best foot out there when you're out there in public with people's kids and that whole thing. You're not going to be this blabbering idiot swearing up and down the sideline. I get that. You don't want your kids to hear it. You don't even want parents to hear it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sometimes you may let loose, but you still got to remember where you are. But it doesn't have to take away from what you're saying and what you're fighting for. Mm-hmm. That's my point. If you're making a point to fight for the people that need to be heard, then do what you got to do. As long as you don't break any laws, I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think again, let me see how I can put this. In a disingenuous person who hear this won't take it as well. Let me just say it the way I want to say it, without Ron. I'm gonna have to sing you something else because she was wanting the amendment flyer up as well.
I'm
okay.
If you send it to me, email it to me. Don't send it to me that way. I can put it up.
Let me email it to you now. But John,
okay.
The problem is that everybody else can do whatever they want to do, but if we duplicate it, it's a problem. See, and that's that old elitism. That's that old stinking thinking type. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I don't think that. I think if you feel like you can do it, then I feel like I can do it. The rules should be the same. So what we have to start doing is have powerful people that's out there, again, to counter those messages that we're really not, man, I just,
Glass, let me just say something now. Sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves, and this is what I'll say: we get so caught up in ourselves. If it ain't benefiting us, we don't really want to say anything about it. We don't really want to do anything about it. We want to make sure that our message is clear, that goes through us. It's almost like what we're looking at right now. We're sitting here as two gents podcast with John, and you have to be able to support other people, not at your expense. It's not about me. I'm not bringing this to you. We're introducing something new that maybe you can dig into, research, and you can take that on. But most people come out there and they say, "Oh, I ain't calling no names because I don't like putting people down, putting people out in the media. But I don't have to say my name and then use your organization to bring me up, or use you to come in on the show and build up my numbers." As Byron says so many times, our numbers is what it is. If you want to hear us, you hear us. If you don't want to hear us, you can go somewhere else. We don't care.
Right.
But we're gonna still do the same thing that we're doing right now. I'm not jumping on nobody else's back to ride their horse that they invented. I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna push them forward. I'm gonna put some gas in the car. I'm gonna help if they gotta walk. I'm gonna help them get across the street or do something like that. I don't care what it does for my numbers. But if you got a good cause, I'm gonna jump on board. Go ahead, Glass.
Well, I think we've proven that run from 2012, 13, 14, however long it's been, 10 or 12, 13 years ago. We've proven that. None of us have to do what we're doing. None of us. We're not getting 1 ounce, 1 penny, 1 dime, 1 nickel, 1 quarter. It's not even about that. The number one goal is to enlighten and inform. Okay, and that's what we're going to continue to do, Ron, whether it's one person listening, whether it's 100 people listening, whether it's 1,000 people listening. That's not the concern that I have. What I have concern with is if there's something that I know I can do and I don't do it, then I can't blame or fault nobody else. I can't talk about nobody else, because Trill, the definition of a hypocrite is complaining about what somebody else is doing, and you're doing the same thing just in private. That's not what this is about. If there's anybody out there that's got a message, if it's any young kid that's out there that's aspiring, that want to do something, that needs a voice, that needs a message, hey, look, they can come to the show, they can share this information out all over the country, all over the world if they want to. It's not about us. Hell, we can put a mask on. You don't even have to know who we are. But at the end of the day, John Tribble, I'm going to always do what I've always done. I'm going to die doing it because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy knowing that there's something that we've done to help somebody else get a little bit further. Mama always said this, Trib, and I use this example all the time. It may be 12 steps to the success in life on the ladder. But if you get to number 5, number 6, or whatever you get to, it's your job to bring somebody else up, even if they go farther than you did. So that's where I'm at.
And how can you bring them up if you don't inform them and let them know? They may know what the fight is, but they may not know that there's participation going on with you or whomever. You got to let people know.
Again, we're talking about the same stuff. You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make
them drink it.
Okay,
absolutely.
Now, but see, you also got to realize that once you take the burden off your shoulder, you're no longer responsible. So if you're trying to enlighten and inform, and nobody accepts that message, what peace don't abide, dust your feet and flee.
Done your part.
Exactly. So we're not trying to force anybody. Well, let me speak for me. What I'm trying to do is give sane-minded individuals information that they can utilize and use for themselves. John, I'm not going to tell somebody to vote for this person I'm not going to tell somebody to vote for that person. What I'm going to do is tell you who I vote for and why I voted for. What's most important to me. I can tell you why I didn't vote for the other person. Okay. And I can tell you exactly why I chose the options that I've chosen throughout the balance of my life. Because at the end of the day, if you make a decision, the one thing you got to be able to do is defend it. If you make a decision and you can't defend it and somebody else is giving you a voice, then you weak.
Absolutely. And Glass, as I look at this thing, you know what I like about it? I'm gonna tell you, I'm trying to zoom in and zoom out. Early voting begins. Early voting begins. It gives a date. Early voting ends. It gives a date. Election day. Then if you read on down, somebody took the time to tell you what you're voting for. Mm-hmm. And see, we don't. They did that with their people, but we didn't do that with our people.
Right.
And this is what it does. And this, I like how they can break it up into small areas. They can break it up into states. They can break it up probably into cities, and still deliver a message from a point of what's best for that particular area. Because we all know local elections count more toward us than national elections. So if you can get on this level this early in what's going on, and you can build, as Stacey Abrams was saying, you can build your where you're trying to go. It ain't too much they can say. But the only thing that you have to do after you start building and you go through all these changes and you go through this is you need to pick a person out front. You need to put a person out front and at least have 2 or 3 people that are candidates that's going to lead this country somewhere else, because we need them out there right now. We don't need them out there later. We need to be picking the best of the best right now. But this right here is the start that we've been asking for. So I only thing I can do is clap my hands on that.
Mr. Spikes, also, if you'll notice, everybody and their grandma has got a smartphone, right? Mm-hmm. If you have, well, I'm going somewhere, Trill. If you have any issue long before the election, all you got to do is click on that code, that barcode right there. It's going to tell you the polling places. Read it. It's going to tell you all of the info. Check your status and find your polling location. Scan our QR code. So, Ron, we're not just taking the horse to the water. Hell, we feeding it. Because we're giving you information that you don't even have to go out and search for. We don't like to read. Okay, so all we're doing is giving them the information. Okay, so you don't like to do this. You don't like to do that. Ron, what we're doing now is what you call, we got them in the Gerber line. We spoon feed them. It's no excuses.
Yeah. You got
it. Well, I'm using a lot of analogies, man, but this is serious, because I try to put laughter to some serious stuff. Man, it's the problem is this: if people don't go out and vote, again, you get what you ask for, and once you get what you ask for, don't come complaining.
Don't whine. Don't jump up and down and scream. Don't use your platform to try to say what you wanted to say before the election. Then after it happens, then you come up there and you want to say, well, it ain't nothing we can do. It wasn't nothing we could do then, but go out and vote. But instead of you talking about people going out and vote, you want to gear your platform towards yourself. And I'm trying my best not to say who it is, but I'm just saying that we have to take a different approach, and this is a different approach. I mean, I'm going to lead this up because here's the reason why I'm going to lead this up. Because if you haven't figured out where you can go vote on these amendments that's up here, scan that code up there. Take your telephone out. Take a picture. It's going to have some little yellow writing at the bottom of it, and it's going to tell you where you can go vote. So I just want to
look at amendment number 2.
Yeah.
Look at amendment number 2. You got young, innocent kids who they've already concluded that the mind of a kid is not developed until 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, but you're going to hold them responsible. Okay, but a person can't go buy tobacco at the age of 21, man, but you're gonna kill them. Come on, man.
And I think you mean number 3. It's actually amendment number 3.
Amendment number 3. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Trill.
but
Thanks
no.
for
I knew where you were going with it.
Mhm.
I agree, and I was sitting here thinking, Glass and Ron. I'm looking at them, and some of these I had seen online earlier when Landry was running for office. So some of these bother me, and like you said, number 3 troubles me greatly. And here's the problem: despite my ethical belief on, like you said, it's just wrong sometimes. The problem is it's going to affect more of us proportionally because this is why they want it. That's why they want it, because they know it's more of us that's going to be pertaining to. And if we don't, as a group of people, see that and say, hey, look, our kids may make mistakes, but that's the kind of mistake you can't take back. When you charge them as adults and sending them to, we all done heard the stories or know something or know someone who may have been or is in Angola. And I want no one that I know to go there. No one for their life. No one.
And Trill, as for me, in the house that I come from, I don't want any kid, black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, or whatever. I have a heart of compassion, especially for kids, because a lot of times kids are placed in situations that are no fault of their own, and sometimes they react and they do things that are crazy and stupid. Because if that were the case, Mr. Spikes, I think me, you, and Mr. Tribble and many people can think of some things that we may not be here today had the hammer been put out on us.
Absolutely. I think that as kids, we make decisions based on peers. Mm-hmm. We make decisions based on somebody else leading us. It's when you get a little bit older that you begin to make decisions that's going to benefit you. So yeah, you're right. You can't put all that on the juvenile and say, hey, you know what? That's his fault. And if you're going to try him as an adult after then, because another adult told him to do it because he was a juvenile and he was going to get a lighter sentence than if another adult did it, you know, you should put that adult in the jail with him. He just as guilty as that child. Because if that child can't make a decision on his own and he's not old enough, and another adult come out there and influence him in that way, I don't care what you say. That adult is just as guilty as that child. If my child was riding in a car and they robbed a place, I'm gonna have to defend my child because she was in the car. They might have picked her up afterward, but she's accessory to the crime because they picked them up together. That's the same thing with an adult misleading a juvenile, and I think that we got caught up in that era a long time ago. So if that's the case, and this is what I'm gonna leave you with, and I'm gonna let you have it, Byron. But if you think that this is only affecting where they voting for it now, just wait a minute. It's gonna get to you. It's gonna hit your street, and when it hits your street, I hope that the same organization is there to bring your attention to it so you can do something about it, not just talk about it after the fact. You go in there and just pull numbers or write on your little certificate check mark. Yeah, I like Amendment 1. I like Amendment 2. I like Amendment 3. You know, just because you say, I voted. But did you vote as an educated voter, or did you just go in there and vote because you just want to get that little red, white, and blue, I voted flag? And it's a purpose behind that. Just like when you laying in that grave, that little dash that's in between that number, that number that's there, you be in and you in. But that purpose in between there, it's the same with voting. You need to put a purpose, not just wave a flag. So I don't know who want to respond to that. I hope I didn't get too far off.
No, Ron, I think you made a very valid point on the latter part. An educated vote, okay. An educated voter. Okay. Those are the things that, well, those are some of the attributes, JT, that we're missing out with regards to being in the ball game. John, I can guarantee you this. That you can post that particular flyer on your page tonight or send it to 10 people that you know. And I guarantee you can ask them if they know anything about this upcoming election in March. I bet you 90% of them will say no.
I'd agree.
And you have Mr. Spikes. You have local elected officials. Nobody's talking about this. You have individuals that are elected. Nobody is trying to inform the voters so they can become an educated voter. I'm not saying that's what we're doing. All we're doing is putting the information out there, which we're what we call a procuring cause. We're setting everything in motion. Now, again, if you don't want to click on this barcode, that's a choice you can make. The only thing we're doing is you said that you was hungry and we feed you. You said that you was thirsty, we're giving you some water. You said that you wanted us to visit you in the rest home. That's what we're doing. So I'm using those analogies, John. So if there's anybody out there who don't understand what's been done, all we're doing is trying to provide you the information that you need to make your decision. I would much rather provide you this information versus somebody come through the neighborhood and give you $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, and say, I need you to go vote for this and vote this way. I have no respect for you at that point.
The other thing about what you're saying, Glass, is that sometimes when you get the information from somebody that's out there, they mislead you.
Mm-hmm.
They mislead you. This is plain. Well, you can read it for yourself. You don't have to go to nobody else. You can read it for yourself. And if they come up to you with some information that's not true, the only thing you have to do is say, here's what I scanned. This is where I got my information. Where did you get yours?
Mm-hmm.
You got yours from just watching the news channel. You got yours from just watching social media. You got yours from somebody that didn't participate, somebody that don't know. Here's where I got mine. Why don't you go out there and look at it? And that'll cancel a lot of arguments that you have over something that doesn't even make sense. Because they at election time, all of that stuff changes. They're reworded. They're reworded where I know here in Houston, I'm gonna say Texas and stuff, they're reworded, and when you're in that ballot, you're like, what the hell? I'm supposed to be voting for what? It sounds like they're saying just the opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing. Then you walk out of the ballot and you thinking, you still in thought about what, hell, just put it in black and white. Sometimes you need it in black and white and highlight it in red, like what they doing on here. What's on the ballot? They telling you. Only thing you have to do is read it. Yeah. And if you can't read, get somebody else to read it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to take that message all over this country, any little room, any little city, any little parish or whatever parish. I know y'all use parishes down there.
Yeah.
So any parish, county, or whatever that's out there, we need to break it down and take it into those high schools too. Because even though they haven't had a chance to vote, they need to know what to expect when they get there. And I saw that earlier up in one of those things that we had up. They're getting kids ready. We got to get kids ready. We got to use whatever source that we got that's available to us.
But you know, John, what, Ron?
Go ahead.
We also got to get the ill-informed adult ready. You know, we oftentimes, not us, just speaking in general, we oftentimes keep putting these burdens on these kids when you can't expect a kid. Well, let me just give you an example. Most kids, Ron, that come from the hood, the neighborhood, when school is out for the 3 months, that's the worst time of their life. Because they steadily lose out on the knowledge that they've gained, where the counterparts are doing everything that they can, taking them on summer trips, letting them become exposed, reading to them. When our kid is sleeping 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 sometimes, staying out to 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 sometimes. And if you get mad at it, these are just facts. So we're not putting everybody in a group, but too much is happening with too many. My point is that the message has to be loud and clear that all of this passive instruction that we've been given, we Melvin is saying here in Louisiana, children can register at the age of 17 years old. Are we going into schools registering kids? Are we going into trade schools registering kids? Are we taking it to them since they don't want to go there? I'm just asking these questions because I don't know. What I do know is that we here have voter registration, but now, Ron, they changed the law. Before you have a voter registration, you have to notify the Secretary of State's office before you do that. Okay, see, the law changed, but see, you got to be up on this stuff. And I'm not saying I'm up on everything, but I can tell you this: hell, I'm up on some things.
Yeah.
So Melis also said, yeah, that's what we do all over the country. We would do it for every election. That's a good thing. But go ahead, Ron.
No, Glass. Well, I want to tell Melanie, if you want to come in, that doesn't mean we ain't gonna bring you on Tuesday. You already slotted for that slot. But we'll let you come on so we can get some information, and we'll address it. We'll write our questions down on paper, and we'll bring them back to you on Tuesday to see where we're going. But you don't have to keep texting thinking that you ain't gonna get on Tuesday. You're able to come on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, long as me and Glass got breath. And Glass willing to cut on this electric, and John's out there, and we have a couple more people that join in. I don't mind running with this because this is more important than anything else that's out there.
We're gonna run with it, Ron. We're gonna the goal for 2025, just like Project 2025, is to educate. Is to educate. Not only educate, but we're gonna continue to enlighten anything that's going on in any particular area that we get information from. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna bring Corey Jackson on. You remember Corey from Vegas? His son is a professional bull rider. Been riding bulls all his life. Nobody's talking about that. Been to the professional, the PRCA, all that kind of stuff, man. The kid is exceptional. We want to bring on kids. If there's a straight A student that's out there that's getting all these $100,000 to go to college, we want to acknowledge those. We want to profile those kids. So, John, at the end of the day, man, some of this has already been made. The journey of 1,000 miles began by putting 1 foot forward. Okay, and we ain't stopping until we get to 1,000. No matter how hard it is, no matter how many doors close, no matter how many hills we have to climb, we're going from 100 to 1,000. And what I mean by that, we are going to try to enlighten the people with the best information possible and let them make their own conscious decision. Now, remember, none of us on here are Democrats or Republicans, so nobody can say that they lean in left. No, we're not doing either one of them. Ron can attest to this. Hell, we check the right just like we do the left.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know
I will. Y'all know I will, and I might laugh, but I'm gonna tell you, I want to know both sides of the story before I make a decision. Right. I don't want to just hear one side, because you get down the road and realize that person that's sitting you down and didn't know what they was talking about either. And you already made that decision. So just take your time. And Melanie, I'm gonna say again, if you want to come in, don't worry about Tuesday. We got other days. Come on, John. I'm sorry.
I would just say, Rhonda, what you were just saying about, and both of you guys about the left and the right. What made me become an independent was I would hear what the right had to say. I'd hear what the left had to say. If you listen to either one of them, both of them could be believable. I don't care what you have to say. Tell me what it is about, and I will find the facts. If you can't tell me the facts about it, then I'm not listening to you. Mm-hmm. So if I can dig and find the facts, okay, decision made for me. So you can't lie me into voting for any group. That's just it. One side or the other. You can't lie me into voting for whatever. No. I will vote for what seems to be when I know what the facts are. Does this benefit me and anybody that I know and everybody that I know? Because what's beneficial for most of us is beneficial for all of us. That's how, and that's not race related, income. We know there's that separation. Those classes and things separate us, but again, like Glass said, hey, I'm for right. If it's right, I'm there.
I agree with
John,
you.
a member number 3 affects every parent, black, white, young, old, rich, or poor. Our goal is just to provide the information and let them make the best decision possible. There's no way in West Hell that a 17-year-old should be tried as an adult because they can't go and buy cigarettes, they can't go buy tobacco, they can't go buy alcohol and all this. But yet still, on the one hand, you're saying that they are an adult, they're culpable or responsible for their actions. But on the other hand, they're not responsible. Man, you know, this is about some of the dumbest stuff that I've seen in my lifetime.
Called insidious. That's what I said when I saw it. That amendment number 3 is the most insidious thing I've seen on that board because it has an underlying. Well, look at the last statement. It would be disproportionately impact marginalized communities. We know who that is. We absolutely know who that is.
It doesn't give them a chance to recover. It doesn't give them a chance to be a child. It doesn't give them a chance to even be a young adult and realize that the decisions that affected them will affect them for the rest of their life. It's I almost want to credit it to this class, and then I'm gonna let you come in. We all know how kids come, right? But not all of us, not every one of us are educated in that way. We go with a feeling. Well, that feeling can cost you 18 years of your life because you're going to have to take care of that feeling for 18 years of your life. This is equivalent to getting the information to a child, making a decision, and I'm going to have to tie this back to me so you can understand what it means to make a decision as a child. When somebody tells you as a child, you know, whatever we do, if something becomes of it like a child, you're gonna have to get a job. Somebody that's gonna make you make a decision then, because that action that you want to take place, might not be what you want to do, because it has consequences to your actions. And this is almost like where we're at right now. The kids are making a decision that we're giving them consequences before they get the opportunity just to make a mistake. And if they can't make a mistake, and I'm not tying that to a mistake of a child or anything like that, I'm just saying the consequences that the decisions that you make, because you might be a 16-year-old child and you do something, you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. You can't go back and get a job. You can't go back and do anything. You tied to that label until you can get out of it. I don't know how you can do it any other kind of way, Glass. So I'm sorry if I went too long or if I went off subject. But
Mr. Spikes, the president of the United States can be convicted as a felon by the juror of his peers. Mm-hmm. Nothing happens. Mm-hmm. So why should the law not apply to him as we're trying to apply this to kids who have not met the brain size that's appropriate enough to make most of these conscious decisions? Okay, again, if you want to do something, do it in the right way. We know that there are issues with juveniles. We know that there are issues with kids. We know that there are some things that are happening that need some correction too. But to just throw the book away at a kid's mind who has not developed yet, man, you know, what kind of society are we living?
Oh, we live in a society where we need free labor.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like you said, Glass, I mean, you can't buy cigarettes before you're a certain age. We won't let kids go in the military before a certain age unless a parent or an adult, and you have to meet a minimum age then, signs off on it. Mm-hmm. But yet we're okay because a kid commits some kind of crime that, and I know some of these kids. I actually know some of these kids. I have cried about some of these kids that have done some of these very things that they're talking about. And blame myself for it. But there's no way that we should be holding a kid that age responsible as an adult. We can't let him go and even go serve in the U.S. military.
Yeah, this is why the debate stage is calling me to deal with that. You take a kid who was born by no fault of his own to drug addiction. whose brain is probably going to develop just a tad bit slower than a person who didn't grow up or was born with drug addiction. You take this kid who goes out and does something at the age of 15, 14, 13, and let's go on up to 16, 17. That's not really conscious enough to understand what he or she is doing, which is basically a crime. But then you're going to throw them to the wolves, and they've not even met the educational level because they're already in special ed most of the time. They're already basically labeled as a child with exceptionalities or a child with disability or whatever terms that you want to choose. My point is this, man, until people stand up and fight against, even if you lose the fight, it's better to lose a fight fighting than lose a fight sitting on your ass. So, and that's my point. You're either gonna get up, stand up, or you're gonna sit down and just continue to write because the rules are thrown out of the window now. Mm-hmm. It's a new day in a new time. It's a new era. What existed in 2024, everything is out the window. There's no new norm. You got to create your norm, and one of them is you need to get off your ass. You need to start getting involved. And you need to start doing some things that can affect or impact your community in a positive way. And one of them is clicking on this barcode and finding out exactly where you can vote at. One of them is reading these amendments and finding out what's the best way to vote. Another one is to listen to this podcast on Tuesday night when there's going to be an individual coming on to provide you with this information. Not just for this particular parish, but for the entire state. So, Ron, we can do what we're doing, and my purpose is to do it. Now, what's done with it, that's up to the individual populace. I can't make a person do what I want them to do. All I can do is what I'm supposed to do, and that's where I'm at with whatever it is that I do. You can't make other people do what you feel is necessary. Again, Mr. Tribble, you can give some people a job to sleep, and they'll wake up because they're too lazy.
Hey, Glass, to add what you just got through saying, and it's kind of in the form of a question. As we read this, and that information is right there that you can go get. How many of those same parents, since you live in that community, Glass, and they know you're elected official, how many of those same parents will let this go through without voting, and then when their kid get in trouble, they want to change the rules? They expect you to come in and do something about it.
Trill, you know what, man? I'm gonna let you take that. I've seen it too long, too many years. I've seen no participation. I've seen people bitch complain and moan. But I Ron, that's a whole nother segment that we don't have time to go into. Trib, I'm gonna give it to you, but what I am gonna say is about 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. You're listening to Live with Two Gents with a special all-star guest, John Tribble, and we have our guest that's out there talking in the background on, I believe, YouTube about the upcoming show, What's on the Ballot Wednesday night. You can go to www.blackvotersmatterfund.org. You can come on this podcast and listen at it in the archives, and you can check your status and your polling location by scanning a Q code that's on the particular broadcast. So, Ron, I know we're getting late, Trib. I'm going to give you time to jump in, and we got to get on out of here.
Well, I'm just going to, I don't know if I'm going to answer Ron's question, but I'm going to say what he just asked is really the crux of the whole thing about why we don't have as big a voice as we should. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's really the nut in the shell. We're living, maybe I'm trying to excuse him, but we're living trying to make that dollar, trying to make ends meet. We don't have time to hear any of this because we're moving and doing. Then when it comes down to it, maybe they'll go vote. But like Ron say, hey, they just going in there either pushing buttons or pulling levers or whatever. Hey, I voted. I didn't even read it before I walked in here. They give you pamphlets outside when you're going to vote. Read it before you walk in. They have them laid out on the table. Read it. Understand what you're going to vote for. I've seen people walk right past it, go in, and maybe they know what they've already digested it. But some people don't bother. But we've got to get. I know, Glass, we can't make them do what we don't want them to do. But my thing is, I have to make you understand what the consequences of what you decide you won't do or will do. It will matter when you walk in there and cast that vote. If that's what you need to do. Because if you don't go to do that, like we've always said, what you say is irrelevant after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's irrelevant.
Hey, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, Glass, and I'm gonna give it to you and let you close it out. But sometimes the best education is done at the last minute before you go in and vote. Because sometimes you go in there, and this has happened to me. Somebody approached me, and they say, well, "Are you voting for me?" And I look at them. I don't even know who that person is. But it's the way that they approached me when I went to the election ballot to cast my vote that I say, well, wait a minute. This ain't right. This is one of those times where you don't have to wait for that stroll inside to go vote, where people are begging for your vote and you looking at them and you making a decision based on how they look and how they approach you and stuff like that. That could be a pretty good person. They had an off day, or they've been out there all day in that sun trying to, get voters to vote for them. Look at what they do. Your research ahead of time. Click on that code right there. Use your cell phone. You got one. Your mama paid for one. I know your mama paying, daddy paying for one. They use it as leverage to punish you if they're good parents. So I'm just saying, click on that, adults or kids, and go ahead and do that. Glass is all yours. I'm gonna say good night, and the only thing I'm gonna do after Glass get through is push that end stream button up there in the corner. So I'm saying thank God, thank God, thank God, and thank God Almighty. And that's
Appreciate
it.
y'all
I'm
having
out.
me tonight, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, John, we appreciate you always coming on and participating. We have a lot of fun here when we're doing what we're doing because we enjoy what it is that we're doing. We also feel like there's somebody that we're reaching. And if we're reaching one person that can make a conscious decision based on our enlightening and informing the person, then we've done our job. As a good quarterback would do, Mr. Trill, he can take you from the 1 yard line and march you all the way down to the touchdown. And I think tonight, Mr. Spike, we started out on the 1 yard line and we ended up with a touchdown. Another successful broadcast, another portion of enlightened people. We're not distorting the messages and dividing the people. We're not on the left side. We're not on the right side. We're in the middle. We're trying to give you a just information so you can make a conscious decision on what it is that's most important to you in your life. So at the end of this broadcast, we're going to ask that if you look at the archive, that you go out and look at that barcode, take your cell phone, pull it up, and go look at the polling places. And we look forward to you. We may do this tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Monday night is kind of like one of those times where we just jump in. But Tuesday night is the regular broadcast with two gents. You've been listening live with two gents tonight at 10:04 p.m. Central Standard Time. Good night. Good night. Good night.